In different industries in various business cultures, the term CSR, which means corporate social responsibility, is mentioned in the same spirit, but really abides by different definitions. In our module, the European Union of 2004 defines it as a management concept whereby companies integrate social and environmental concerns in their business operations and interactions with their stakeholders on a voluntary basis. The United Nations Industrial Development Organization, or UNIDO, shares the same definition, but adds that CSR is the way through and by which a company achieves a balance of economic, environmental, and social imperatives, while at the same time addressing the expectations of shareholders and stakeholders. In the current European Commission website, CSR refers to companies taking responsibility for their impact on society, and that it is important for the sustainability, competition, and innovation of enterprises and the economy. Taking all these definitions into consideration and consolidating them into a more comprehensive umbrella definition, CSR may be defined as a management concept where companies on a voluntary basis take responsibility for their impact on society and integrate social and environmental concerns in their business operations, while at the same time addressing the expectations of shareholders and stakeholders. Corporate social responsibility is often interchanged with the term corporate citizenship and is linked to the triple bottom line approach, which is used as a framework for measuring corporate performance against economic, social, and environmental performance. It is an attempt to align private enterprises to the goal of sustainable global development by providing them with a more comprehensive set of working objectives than just profit alone. The perspective taken is that for an organization to be sustainable, it must be financially secure. It should minimize or ideally eliminate its negative environmental impacts, and it should act in conformity with societal expectations. There are 4 key drivers of CSR from associo.org in our module. First is enlightened self-interest, which refers to creating a synergy of ethics, a cohesive society, and a sustainable global economy where markets, labor, and communities are able to function together. Another is social investment, which refers to contributing to physical infrastructure and social capital that is viewed as a necessary part of doing business. Third is transparency and trust, which refers to the expectation that companies should report publicly their performance in social and environmental arenas to improve how the public perceives them. And the fourth is increased public expectation of business, which refers to the expectation that companies should do more than merely provide jobs and contribute to the economy through taxes and employment. There are more key drivers mentioned in other literature. In marketingstudyguide.com, they include government legislation and the type of industry the business is in. There are governments that require companies to conform and behave in a certain manner. Consumer lobby groups. The internet and social media has made it much easier for consumer lobby groups to form and generate attention and therefore achieve its goals of change. The costs involved. Social responsibility initiatives can provide a win-win scenario between the company and the cause. Corporate culture and management values. Corporate social responsibility is seen as a reflection of the values of a company. Dimensions of corporate social responsibility. There are many websites containing various lists of dimensions of corporate responsibility. In our module, we were asked to view the 5 dimensions of CSR presentation by Mal Warwick. The 5 dimensions, according to Warwick, are employees, customers, suppliers, environment, and community. A socially responsible company treats its employees with respect and creates a positive working environment. It helps employees achieve their potential at work and supports them in work-related issues. Customers want products and services that perform as promised, delivered on time at fair prices. To act toward customers in a socially responsible manner, your company has to treat customers ethically and with integrity. Companies complying with the requirements of social responsibility treat suppliers ethically and fairly, allowing them to compete on a level playing field and awarding contracts to those providing the best value. Socially responsible corporate behavior includes paying the agreed amounts on time, stating your requirements clearly with appropriate references to specifications and quality standards, refusing large gifts or special payments in return for favoring a particular supplier, and compensating suppliers fairly for changes you make to their orders. Socially responsible companies minimize their environmental impact. Such companies take the following initiatives: reduce waste generation, reduce use of heating, cooling, and fresh water, reduce the consumption of non-renewable resources, eliminate harmful byproducts of manufacturing, and support sustainable development practices. A socially responsible company identifies community needs and takes initiatives that help solve local problems. Typical examples are supporting education of the local population, investing in local healthcare, helping with needed infrastructure projects, supporting local cultural initiatives, and encouraging and paying for employees to become involved in local organizations. YourArticleLibrary.com offered a more comprehensive model. They considered shareholders, government, law, special interest groups, and financial institutions as dimensions as well. It is the primary responsibility of every company to see that the shareholders, which are considered as primary stakeholders, get a fair rate of dividend or fair return on capital invested. This is a legitimate expectation of owners from businesses. Social responsibility of business towards government requires that the company will conduct its affairs as a law-abiding unit and pay all taxes and other dues honestly. Its management will desist from corrupting public servants or the democratic process. Special interest groups are considered secondary stakeholders. They purport to act on behalf of a wide variety of constituencies. Trade associations and industry groups are also affected by a company's actions and its reputation. Taking deposits, granting loans, and providing complementary services are the core business of banks and other financial institutions. Companies should transact their business with them promptly and honestly. In as early as the 1900s, companies have tried to make sure that their employees and families are taken care of, but upon realizing that they also have a responsibility to help others, many Philippine companies have made it a point to reach out to neighboring communities. This trend started in the mining communities during the 50s, though back then their help was mostly philanthropic in nature. The demonstrations during the 70s due to martial law and the increase in oil prices helped the leaders of the largest companies realize that they should also help solve greater social problems in order for them to survive. The first organized model for the corporate citizenship was born, the Philippine Business for Social Progress. Since then, a more strategic approach was adopted by companies. They started helping communities help themselves to ensure that they don't become victims of poverty. This continued until the 80s. The 90s brought new challenges due to pressures of the globalizing economy and the weakening of the peso. It was this time when 13 pioneering corporate foundations created the League of Corporate Foundations, which started out as a subsector of the Association of Foundations, but was registered independently in 1996. In 1997, LCF was one of the NGOs in the Philippines that organized the Philippine Council for NGO Certification, or PCNC. Its main function is to certify non-profit organizations that meet established minimum criteria for financial management and accountability in the service to underprivileged Filipinos. In 2001, the first week of July was declared National CSR Week. In 2006, 3 units of social responsibility and good governance were offered in colleges and universities. In 2010, the LCF became one of the founding members of the ASEAN CSR Network, an association of organizations advocating for CSR in Southeast Asia. To date, the LCF has grown to 80 foundations and companies. Companies in the Philippines have gained a growing appreciation of CSR. Most continue to think of sustainable and innovative ways to help various communities and causes towards the improvement of the conditions in our country.